Welcome to a very exciting episode. I'm Jared, and of course, we've got Sal. But even more exciting, we have Billy Goff. Dude, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Doing very well. This has been a long time. Sal and I have been holding the fort down, doing a bunch of exciting episodes. We get really hyped every single week just to talk all things UFC, MMA in general. But this has been a long time that we haven't had a guest on, so this is really, just a happy moment for us because very proud of Sal every time he books of. We look up to fighters, we look up to their stories, and you've had quite the. We were excited about you from last year when you were on the Contender Series, and then of course your amazing TKO that you had in Singapore just kept the hype alive. So thank you for being here, Billy, for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time, guys.
How you said you're waiting for training right now?
Yeah, no, I'm sitting outside the gym, but I'm gonna go in whenever we're done. We usually we practice at 7:30 every night.
Nice.
And so I usually come in a little early, warm up, stretch a little bit.
What kind of practice are you looking at this evening?
Tonight's striking. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday striking. Tuesday, Thursday is grappling. And
Will
there's
you be
things mixed in, obviously.
sparring, hitting pads? What does a tonight kind of workout look like for you?
We'll see what my coach has in store. It's you never know exactly what you're walking into. We tonight could be the night that we spar, or tonight could be the night that we do just a bunch of drills. We always end the night with hard cardio, so there's a couple things that'll be certain. Practice will be hard, but exactly what we do, who knows?
Nice. I like that. Even a sparring session you don't have really a mental prep for. I kind of like that. But and you've been with this gym for a long time?
So I've been with this gym for my entire MMA career since I was
Okay.
18.
Could we go back to what got you into starting your MMA career?
Absolutely. So when I did a little bit of training. I actually came here when I was like 13, 12. I forget exactly when,
Oh, really?
just to try it out for a summer and help out with wrestling a little bit, going into high school. The and dabbled a little bit, but mostly just wrestled growing up. I loved wrestling. And when I graduated high school, didn't make the greatest choices. Was kind of checked out of everything, and I ended up just going to a community college, which is nothing wrong with that. But I was just sitting there. They didn't have any wrestling program. I wanted to eventually transfer to another school that had a wrestling program. But then I found out that you had to go for 2 years before you could reapply to another school. So I was like, fuck this. I'm
Yeah.
going to go do something else. And so while I was in my first year, I started looking for gyms to train at because I was like, I can't wrestle, so let's try fighting. Let's see how that goes. Tried a couple gyms and came here, and I just fell in love with the place. It was the same environment that I had from wrestling. It
For
was
sure.
grindy, nitty gritty, tough. And the people are amazing here, and it stuck. And I liked being here. I liked working out hard. And then eventually I got my first fight, and it was wrap. It was done.
So you were a wrestler, but I've heard you say that your striking is kind of like your bread and butter at this point. So how is the transition over to striking? Because I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who are natural wrestlers, like the striking doesn't come naturally for them. But were you somebody who got in a lot of like street fights in high school, or like just like I mean, how does somebody develop that or have it come natural for them?
So I've never been in a street fight. I've always been too nervous to.
Hey, I
the
respect that.
But so I also try to avoid situations. I never go out. I don't drink. I don't party. Shit like that. So I
Yeah.
usually stay away from them. But so I was never a very super heavy, stiff, strong wrestler. I was usually just fast paced, go 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 go.
Yeah.
And the so not bringing a bunch of stiffness into my striking. That's what helped me kind of loosen up. And a huge part of it too was my teammate Austin. He's a fantastic striker.
Yeah.
Has been ever since I've known him. And coming in and just getting the shit kicked out of you by a great striker for years. So it's gonna make or break you. You're either going to be a good striker or you're going to leave.
Absolutely. And I truly, I mean, I know that going through a hard workout is like the only way to get through something in life or find yourself, find your purpose, find your path. And it's so cool to like to know that it's like, all right, when you went in there, you were, you know, at a place in life where you didn't have it all figured out. You were kind of trying to, you know, you were a little lost is what I kind of just gathered. And it's like, you embraced the feeling of getting the shit kicked out of you. And it's like, I feel like that would help so many people because it's like there's nothing that gets you out of your way more than being humbled by getting the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, there's the world needs if everybody could just join a gym, just
Yes.
a MMA gym, a wrestling gym, jiu-jitsu
Right.
gym, whatever. If everybody could just go for a year, it would solve so many problems in the world.
100%. My wife and I when we met, we joined a kickboxing gym together. Like within the first like 3 months of us dating, I got her for a Christmas present. I literally got her like a gym membership to this UFC kickboxing gym. And
Nice.
it was so fun, like going there, like at the end of, because she's a school teacher, and every single night, like after she would finish up a long day of teaching, you know, fifth graders, fourth grade, whatever grade she was teaching at the time, we'd end it with this, you know, throw in, you know, burnouts on a heavy bag together. And just, you know, there's no way to escape sweat flying in a gym with 30 heavy bags and everybody's just crushing these bags. And it's different than like, cause I love training. Like I love weightlifting and like doing like, you know, high intensity kind of like workouts. And, but at the same time, there's nothing like kicking a bag, hitting a bag. And it's a very different kind of, I truly think it's like one of the highest forms of like cardio, even more so than like an Airdyne assault bike. Like going from that to a heavy bag is just so it's next level that you just feel like you're just like, okay, I am literally giving my body all that it can handle right now.
Yeah, the output that you need to fight is unreal. And then once you add grappling into it too, it's the up and down. Now you're carrying weight. Now you're throwing your punches, and your arms are getting dead. And now you're throwing kicks in your legs, and now you got to control your breathing. And it's just it's a
I, yeah, I heard
it's not
no, I heard Chael Sonnen say this week he was like he was almost comparing a 5 round fight to like the way that people talk about like the Tour de France of like it is really like it defies like what the human body should be able to go through. And that's why like people are trying to like, you know, beat the system with performance enhancers with like the Tour de France and of course like, you know, every sport. But you think about what a 5 round fight is and it's like to put people who are at the highest level in a octagon to literally say, okay, you knock him out, you submit him, you submit her for 25 minutes. It's just, I mean, a street fight, like fights don't last more than 2 or 3 minutes. So like, it's,
you.
yeah,
Some guys even get knocked out in like 20 seconds. Like some fights don't even go past a minute.
especially when they're
Uh,
fighting you.
that's why like if you have any cardio, like anybody who has like some fighting experience, like it's always just like if you end up in a street fight, it's like one, you're not gonna know how to fight most likely, and you're not gonna have the gas to keep up. So I'm just gonna pump my jab for a nice minute and just pop, 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 and you're gonna be tired. And now it's just I can
Right.
do whatever I want.
No, they say there's only like 8 good punches. So it's like literally the guy who like ran 8 miles that day has a better chance of winning the fight because he can last longer.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to pull back to something Jared mentioned earlier with your style in general. And I know you mentioned your training partner. Is there anybody that you kind of watched to not mimic, but build your style based off of?
So I didn't like study someone specific so like my style is very heavily based off of my coach, the way that he fought, the way that he like the way that he teaches us. There's certain things that I took to very well, and that's the way I do it now. Um, it's all very heavy pressure forward, heavy go 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 go, just because it's how I've always been in wrestling and this during practice, whatever it is. It's because I've got gas for days. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna turn it up as fast as you can. But so there wasn't anyone that I really based my style entirely off of watching. But one person that I hope to emulate as I go on would be DC. Mostly because I think DC and I'm similar build to DC minus the belly. Because we're same height, same reach for the most part, and he's fighting dudes up at heavyweight that are taller than him, bigger than him, longer arms. And so if he could fight, I hope to fight the way that he fought, because I think he was extremely successful. And for someone who's shorter, I think he did a fantastic job with it.
For sure.
Billy, it was pretty beautiful. To mention, when you gave your Octagon speech, I mean, a long time coming, getting into the UFC, and to spend that moment, that beautiful moment, to give your condolences to Austin's sister. That was really beautiful when I was watching that earlier today. I mean, it's like you spend your whole life to get this one moment of, to celebrate, and to just have such a humble moment like that. It was really, really beautiful.
Thank you. It was it's the least I could do for my teammate. He's been there for me in so many ways, and he's sacrificed for me. That little example, that little tribute to him was
100%
nowhere near what I could do, what I would hope to be able to do for him. But it's just a start.
But to have all that adrenaline running through you, and to be able to process that moment, and to still get that out in there, I commend that, because I'm a musician. I've always been in bands. I've been fortunate enough to play some pretty amazing shows, and I've won some like music awards. And I was one time winning an award on stage, getting this very, very cool moment. And I didn't, like, there were certain people I just didn't even, like, my brain just shut down. I didn't thank certain people. Like, it's just so hard to process during the moment, like the right thing to say. And I feel like you said all the right things.
Thank you. It's not easy, and I mean, as someone who like, especially with music, like when you're on stage and you're constantly, like, if you keep going, you got to focus the whole way through. You got to constantly be on rhythm. It's so, I mean, it's very much so, like, and all it is you just focus on what you got to do. Focus on being present and where you're going. So, like, I remember, and I did a lot of mental prep work for this fight. And it really paid off, because I felt so good going in. Like when I was in the cage, I hit a little mental reset. I was like, so what I always do, I do it during practice. I was doing it during my warm up. I do it throughout the week whenever I get anxious. Like if I'm up late at night thinking about the fight, I do it as well. Feel my hands, feel my feet. What can I see? What can I hear? And then what am I going to do? So right now, so before the fight, I was, all right, first 5 seconds, keep my hands up, keep my chin tucked, pump my jab, get outside that lead leg. That's all that matters right now, is start off doing that. And so I know where I'm going. Once I get there, everything else is just going to flow, and it kind of pulls me into that moment.
Do you feel like when you're going over there to a place like Singapore, and obviously fighting somebody who's from that part of the world, do you have it in your head like you're being almost fed to like a situation where they're not setting you up to lose, but like, they've got this guy who's hyped over there? Like, how do you feel? How do you process all of that?
I honestly don't think about it too much. Because I didn't have to take that fight. I could have taken a different fight somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much they were trying to use me for him. I wanted a fight, and that was the soonest card I could get on. And that was the only person that not the only person they offered me for the fight, because he's local. So it's like, all right, we can bring one guy from over here. Let's try to find one guy near here where he's fighting. So it kind of just worked out that he was the one. And I knew he was coming off a loss, so I knew he was going to be hungry.
Yeah.
I knew he was still a contender series guy. So the way that I looked at it was like, all right, the UFC is either going to build one of us up.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just going to put two guys up. One of these guys will, like,
Definitely.
the other one turns into something.
Hey, well, Sal and I were honestly hoping that you would have been on the Boston card instead of Ian Garry. So this was, we understand. You got to take
bullshit.
For sure.
What's your view on him as a guy in the division? I mean, he's getting a lot of hype right now, kind of early.
I mean, he's very good. He's the Conor McGregor gimmick. It's
annoying, right?
Yeah, it is. It's honestly the only annoying part is the fact that it's so shitty. He's doing such a shitty job with it. Like, he's like quoting him. It's too much like him. If he took the route of, all right, you're going to be a heel, just be your own heel. Don't be Conor McGregor again. Because now it's just like you're going to lose fans and you're just going to lose steam because of that.
He's had a pretty bipolar few years because he started out as this nice guy. It's very confusing.
But that's the same thing Conor did.
Yeah.
Conor was super nice in the beginning and then just flipped the script. And then he would go back and forth. Sometimes, every once in a while, he was nice. Most of the time, he was a dick. And it's weird, too. Like, when Ian was being a dick to Neil Magny is one of the nicest dudes on the roster.
He's like, yeah, it was just like all about the, like smacking him like a kid. Like, it was just so ridiculous. He was hanging on, like, literally, like, finding something out of nothing, too.
Yeah, it looked kind of dumb, too. Like, he misunderstood the line and then really ran with it for.
You got to find something to run with, though.
Yeah, it's what people do. They're trying to build up hype. They're trying to and I would imagine it's probably because he was getting hype from all of his knockouts, from doing well, from calling the shot against Daniel Rodriguez. Fantastic. It was beautiful.
Right.
But now he's fighting Neil Magny on short notice, and maybe he's losing some steam, so he tries to talk a bunch of shit so that he can draw in attention and build up the fight a little bit more so he can keep his momentum going. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's fucking corny.
It is. Who are the? Well, thank you for agreeing. I was hoping you would. Who are the guys in your division that are people you're gunning for, people that keep you would really make you excited to have a fight with them?
My ideal fight. And he could definitely end up getting the belt, so maybe it's the day when I fight for the belt one day.
Yes.
But Shavkat Rakhmonov.
I heard you say that in an interview, and I told Sal you said that. He was like, "Oh, we're definitely bringing that up."
Yeah. I would love to fight him. He's very good. Obviously, I mean, he is where he is because he's good.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't use his grappling as much as he could or should.
Yeah.
Which just he wants to. If you're a striker, he wants to beat a striker. If you're a grappler, he wants to beat a grappler.
He's a fighter.
He's a tough dude, and I respect him for that. But yeah, the one thing is he doesn't move his head off center. So I'm gonna find that chin and I'm gonna put him out.
I love it. How do you think he does with Steven Wonderboy?
Depends. If he tries to strike with Wonderboy, I think he loses. I think he does. He's very good at walking forward. He has great knees, but a lot of that's on the inside. He's not as long as Wonderboy. So he's either gonna have to kind of rush in, or work his way in to get inside Wonderboy and then throw those knees. But Wonderboy does such a good job at backing up and using the cage and controlling the range that I don't see him doing that. I think he's going to have to threaten the grappling at least a little bit to start setting up something else with it.
What do you think if Wonderboy wins this fight based off of beating their 17-0, 17 finish guy who's, everybody thinks could get the belt? Don't you think Wonderboy should just jump the line and get a title shot at this stage of his career?
Absolutely.
I really want that.
Look, they're giving Cheeto Vera a fucking title shot. Why should he give Wonderboy?
Perfectly said. Yes.
They do whatever they want. The only problem is that Wonderboy, he said no to that fight recently,
right?
And they were lambasting him in the media and just putting his name down.
Yeah.
Just because they try to bully you and stuff. And I'd imagine he doesn't just play along because he's smart and he's going to stand up for himself.
Yeah.
Probably has a decent manager. So if he's in good graces, then he'll get a title shot. If it makes sense for them, then he'll get a title shot. But if they're like, meh, whatever, then I would hope for him to just kind of hang out and just wait for his title shot because he deserves it. Even if he doesn't, let's say this fight doesn't happen, you could still give him a title shot because it's Wonderboy. He's been around for a long time. He's earned it.
How do you see Leon versus Colby playing out?
I don't know. I think Leon's better than everybody else in the top 10 right now. And I don't see too many people giving him a problem. Bilal's biggest thing is that he's a strong wrestler, but so is Usman, and Usman was better at it in my opinion. So I think Leon's going to be able to handle that just fine. The one thing, Colby Covington's, I think he's a little faster. He's not as strong. Uses more of his wrestling. He's got better striking. And And I think Usman hits very hard and is very strong, which was a good matchup against Colby, whereas Leon's not the same. So I don't know. I could absolutely see Colby winning that, but I could go either way. I like Leon a lot because of how good he is.
That moment with that head kick was one of the happiest days of Sal and I's life. Like it was.
It was on my birthday. It was a birthday present.
Nice. Yeah. Birthday present.
It was.
Yeah.
So was getting into the UFC was this a dream of yours? Were you a UFC fan, or was finding an MMA gym just something that helped you through a chapter of your life, and then you found that you were good at it? Like what was the goal when this all started?
So I joined because I wanted to fight, because I remember I never wanted to be, like, I was never a huge UFC fan.
Yeah.
I'm not big on watching sports. Like, I don't really watch too many sports.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy playing them more.
Nice.
And so I remember when I was watching Anderson Silva as a kid, and it was just the coolest shit in the world. It didn't make me want to be him. Didn't make me want to be a UFC champion. But I was like, man, I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that'd be really cool to try. So I've always wanted to try it. And then when I got out of high school and I needed something to kind of just work out, put my mind at ease, it was very much so like, let's get through this chapter.
Yeah.
Let's find something to do, put our mind in. And then when I found out that fighting was so much like wrestling, and the grindiness and the toughness and the work ethic that you need for it, right. I thrived and I loved it. I fell in love with it. Like, I fell in love with wrestling, and then it's the rest of my life. All that matters is fighting from now on.
That's amazing. I love that.
Well, Billy, I know you have your class to get to, and I don't want to hold you too long, but we really appreciate you coming on. We'd love to have you back on someday also, maybe after Absolutely. That next win. But yes, appreciate your time for sure.
Billy, is there anything in the books right now? Is there a fight on the horizon?
So I don't have anything signed. I don't have anything booked. I don't have any names across the desk yet. But I want to fight. I wanted to fight Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
But I've got like 5 teammates who are trying to fight the same night somewhere else. So there's a good chance that it depends if they don't get any fights and we get a fight for Madison Square Garden.
For sure.
Madison Square Garden one. But if they get fights, my teammate Austin's making his pro debut. My teammate Randy Francis is going to make his pro debut. Got a few other fighters, Jake Kasky, Eric Zane, Jared Sweet that might be fighting. Jake will probably fight. The other 2 will be making their amateur debuts, so we'll see what they get. But we got a lot of guys who are coming up fighting soon, so they're going to probably fight that night, and I'd like to fight on the weekend after, November 18th in Vegas. But we got to get a name first.
Nice, man. Well, anybody who ever comes on this show, we become lifelong fans of. So if any of your training partners ever want to come on, we'd love to talk to anybody. So spread the word, man. Thanks so much, Billy. This was great. We really appreciate
it.
Man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Have a great session.
Thank you. Have a good day.